In today's economy, more people than ever are looking to buy and sell businesses. But how do you do it? Welcome to the Deal Board, presented by Transworld Business Advisors. Straight talk about real deals and real people. Listen to stories, interviews, and expert advice to help your business sale, merger, or acquisition process. Now, here are your business exit experts, Andy and Jessica.
Welcome back, everybody. And today we're revisiting one of our favorite topics and one of our most listened topics, and that's about SBA funding and funding for business acquisitions. So we've got a great episode today where we're going to give an overview about what the SBA does. And then we also have some great interviews from 4 of our lending partners that were with us at our Nashville conference in July. So, Andy, we were just saying before we kick this off, like the SBA is a wealth of information, and a lot of what we're going to reference is from their website today. So anything we cover today, I think if you need more information, definitely go and visit sba.gov.
Yeah, it's a great website. I want those website people for us. I mean, they do such a nice job of laying it out with the infographics and things. But we're going to cover a little bit of the basics today. But, again, we are so lucky here in the United States to have this program, because the SBA basically loans business, does these loans that banks definitely would not do by themselves.
No, we would not have capital for small businesses in America without the SBA. So, but I think to jump right into it, just to dispel a big myth, and we've talked about this a lot, but I think we still get it. The SBA does not directly loan money in most situations. Now, in the pandemic, they did some direct loans. There's other situations where they do some direct loans, but in most situations, the SBA has a lending partner that's going to loan the money to you. So the lending partner is usually a bank or a non-bank lender. They will provide the loan backed by the SBA.
Yeah, and they get a little sensitive about this, actually, because a lot of business brokers out there will put something in their descriptions that it's an SBA loan from the SBA. And they hate those words because most of these programs are not directly from them. You're not going to the government for the loan. The loan is being backed and guaranteed by the government, which allows these banks to have these, these loans be much safer for them to be able to loan the money out and be able to follow these programs for them to these loans to be guaranteed by the SBA. So these banks and partners that give these loans rely upon the SBA and rely upon following the programs. And if they don't follow their programs, they could lose their guarantee. So it's very important for them to follow the rules. And there are some great programs out there. And let's go over to top 3.
Yeah, the top 3. I mean, the one we see most often, I think is probably the most popular loan program, is the 7A program. And that's the primary program, the SBA, and it provides long-term financing for a variety of purposes. One of those being a business acquisition. So by far and large, 7As are probably the most popular loan program that buyers use to acquire a business.
Yeah, I think we'll do something like at Transworld, probably a few hundred SBA loans, probably more. I'm trying to think,
I would think so.
I would bet at least 40% of our deals are financed through the SBA, which could be well over 1,000 deals. And what we see is 7A probably represents 90% of them.
Yeah. Because for a 7A, it's what the bankers will call, it's a cash flow loan, right? So when we get into some of the other loans, there may be like some hard assets and things like this, but it's basically basically lending on the cash flow of the business. So when you see, like Andy was referencing in the ads or the executive summaries, if a business it should be lender pre-qualified, not SBA pre-qualified, right? Basically the lender's looking at the cash flow of the business and saying, using the 7A program, the cash flow can support the debt to buy this business.
Yeah. And most of the time, these are existing businesses that have existing cash flow. There are times where people can buy new franchises or they could fund business plans. But for the most part, the 7A loan is based on, and we'll go over the requirements later. So the second one we have is called the 504 program. And the 504 program is a great program, and it usually deals with property. So if there's real property involved with a 504 loan, with a deal, a 504 loan is a great way to go. It's a fixed rate financing available through community-based SBA lenders. Most of the lenders love doing 504 loans because of the property and because of the assets that are included in these deals. And the nice thing about 504 loans, 7A loans can be like 10 years. 504 loans can actually be longer than that.
Yeah, they can be, sometimes double that, but there usually has to be real property or like very significant equipment costs. Like that's what the 504 loan purpose is versus the operating business. So
yeah, and the nice thing is you could blend them, right? So they can blend these two programs, and you could wind up with instead of a 10-year loan on the on the 7A, you could wind up with a 15 or 16 or whatever the blend winds up being for your SBA, for your 504 loan and the blended loan. So that leaves one kind of major other loan that they'll do.
Yeah. And that's microloans. So these are loans of $50,000 or less to help businesses and certain nonprofit sectors too. But these microloans are usually provided by intermediary lenders. I don't think you don't see your traditional banks in a lot of these microloans. It's more nonprofit lenders, community-based lenders. But I don't think a lot of business owners know that these are available. It kind of gets lost in the shuffle of 7A and 504 sometimes.
Yeah, they're nice little loans. If you have something specific you're doing in your community, it can be for nonprofit, it could be for like childcare centers or whatever. I mean, they're nice little loans that you can get. And the SBA, the SBA wants to give away this money. And the nice thing about the SBA also, it's one of the few government programs that pays for itself. So it's very popular. It's not running out of money anytime soon. And it's a great program. And so we want to kind of roll right into you and introduce you to two SBA lenders right now.
First up is Ken Lowy from Newtek. And we also have John Wahl from Live Oak Bank.
Two great lenders. And we're going to stick right on top of that, a listing of the week. So we'll be back after you hear those interviews and the listing of the week.
Transworld Business Advisors is the world's largest business brokerage and mergers and acquisitions firm with over 1,000 brokers and nearly 250 offices worldwide. Transworld's team handles thousands of business sales every year. To be connected with a qualified business broker or learn more about the buying and selling process, visit tworld.com/thedealboard or call 888-719-9098.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. We are talking small business tools, and there's no better small business tools than Newtek. And I am with Ken Lowy from Newtek, and they have so many tools, but we are talking about lending. But listen, Newtek, longtime partner of Transworld, actually used to really be partners with Transworld, and Transworld would not be here without the help of your CEO, Barry Sloan, and Newtek. So we're forever grateful. But Ken, you do so much for the small business world. Tell us what you guys do and what you have.
Well, thank you, Andy. Pleasure being here, everybody. Listen, Newtek's been in this space here for over 20 years.
Yep.
We really provide essential tools for business owners around the country. We are in all 50 states, so whether it's lending, that really drives the business. Every business needs capital to survive, expand, buy inventory, hire, whatever the case may be. But it's a whole host of other solutions and tools that we have that can really help them. For instance, right, in the news recently, a lot of companies have been ransomware, hacked, and that's on everybody's mind these days. Data integrity, data security. So we do that, right? We do this for thousands and thousands of businesses, big and small, across the country. Just like you go to the doctor once a year to get a health check. You should have a security check, right? A network assessment at least once a year.
Right.
Same thing with insurance. Insurance, California, right? State Farm just pulled out of California. Everything's going up.
Yep.
Insurance is definitely going up. So why not have a complimentary insurance review? Free, no pressure. That's something that we do for the trans world. It can be a really good value add benefit for your clients.
Right.
Payroll, also banking.
Right.
Banking. I mean, banking's really big. And
you guys bought a bank?
We did. We bought a bank, and we're a business bank.
Right.
We want to be business friendly. So, a business can come into us, get 1% APY on business checking, 3.5% on business savings, no charge for wires, ACHs, concierge service, actually somebody to talk to, a live human being to actually interact with at a bank. It sounds kind of odd, but that's really the level of customer service and value that we bring.
And you guys have some really easy online tools. You could sign up and get an account within minutes, right?
Correct. We have, unlike other large banks, right, you have to actually go into a branch, open up an account. With us, online banking, very, very easy, simple, frictionless. That's what it's all about. There's enough friction in the world, so we want to bring less friction to business.
It's great doing business with Newtek. What's the best way to get in touch with you guys?
Just K Lowy, KLOWY at newtek1.com. That's Excellent. The best way to get a hold of us.
Excellent. Thanks, Ken.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Hey, we're back, and we are talking to John Wahl from Live Oak Bank. And the great news is they are Vendor of the Year at Transworld. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Andy. That was a huge surprise, but we really have appreciated the partnership that we've had with Transworld over the years. And so thank you for the recognition on that.
No problem. And it's because Live Oak has such a great program for small businesses. And you have a lot of tools for small businesses, but tell us about some of your top ones.
We do. We work a lot with helping businesses sell and exchange ownership. Some of the new rules let businesses sell a portion of their ownership, which is great. We also have a fantastic resource center online at liveoak.bank that allows small business owners to go on, read some of the articles, some of the blogs written by both previous business owners and existing sellers that talk about marketing. I think one of the best tools out there is for business sellers to understand their financials.
Yep.
I think that's a really critical one because a lot of small business owners don't understand the difference and think that a balance sheet is just a cover letter for the P&L, which is not true. So understanding that. Also, we have loan officers across the country that can work with businesses to help, get ready for the sale and help them understand what it is that we look for as a bank when we are financing buyers.
Yeah, and you are the number one SBA lender.
We are the number one SBA lenders by dollars, have been for the last 6 years. So we're obviously really successful at helping change that ownership. I mean, there's so many folks out there, baby boomers, the silver tsunami, whatever you want to call it today, that over the next few years need to exit their business to keep that enterprise valid and moving forward.
Well, we would hope that they call Transworld, and we will get them with Live Oak Bank because they are absolutely one of the best banks in the world for doing SBA lending. And thank you, John, for your partnership. Thank you for your support. And John, what's the best way to get in touch with you guys?
Best way to reach out to me is my cell phone number, 303-551-4453. Or you can also email me at john.wahl@liveoak.bank. And thank you, Andy.
Thank you, buddy.
Hey, Jessica, you know what time it is?
Money time?
Almost. It's time for Listing of the Week.
Hey, everybody. It is Listing of the Week, and I am with JT Tatem of Transworld Business Advisors
of Western Carolinas.
There you go.
That's us.
Excellent. And you have another great listing.
We do.
Tell me about it.
So this is a legendary sports bar
it's just fantastic. The guy has done an unbelievable build out to the space.
Right.
Okay. He's got only a year and a half of operation under his belt at this point, but he's trending for $1 million at the end of his second year. Did 800,000 last year. He's got an SDE of just under $200,000, and he's listed it for just over $500,000.
Right. So about 2.5 times.
Two and a half times. That's right. That
sounds good. And you know what's interesting about sports bars? I think I've found this over the years, is they are somewhat recession proof. I mean, it's like that price point that you can still take your family out to a nice dinner, good food, lots of good drinks.
And the way he's done it, Andy, he had it as a smaller restaurant before, but the local people who were coming were demanding to him, turn this thing into a sports bar. We need a local sports bar. So what he did is he has half the build out is done as sports bar themed. And then the other half is a full dining area. So he's got booths and tables. He built a second bar on that side as well. So the build out that the guy's gone through is probably $150,000. It's immaculate. It's a beautiful space in downtown Greenville area. High traffic, lots of foot traffic, lots of people coming and going. So.
And it's a shame because Greenville's not growing, right?
Yeah. It has just been, it's in the top 5 places to move in the country, according to Forbes magazine.
There you go. An amazing build out. And there's lots of restaurants that want to buy. It's a great time.
And the best part is he's basically absentee. He owns 4 other restaurant concepts that he spends all of his time in. And so you don't need to be here 24/7, 7 days a week to run this thing. Full staff in place. It's ready for somebody to come in and take over.
There you go. What's the best way to get in touch with you?
864-315-8998 or email me directly at jt1@tworld.com.
There you go. Thanks for coming on.
Andy. You bet.
All right. Welcome back, everybody. So we went through the overview of the SBA and what the SBA does, what the most popular programs are with SBA lending services. So now let's talk a little bit about the benefits of SBA guaranteed loans. So we did already talk about the fact that SBA guaranteed loans do provide a lot of capital into the business economic engine in the U.S. But in the loans itself, there's actually some benefits too for the borrowers themselves, right?
Yeah, competitive terms like the SBA guaranteed loans have rates and fees that are comparable to non-guaranteed loans. So we see some secondary financing or some non-SBA financing for businesses, and these rates can be huge. I mean, we're talking 15, 20, 30% loans for some of these kind of higher risk loans. Now, the SBA is capped. Yep. It's 2 3/4 over prime. Right now, prime is running at about, what is it? I don't even know.
I don't even know.
7 or 8% or so, 6%. So you're seeing these loans, some of the SBA loans on the low side coming in at about 8.5%, 9%. And you see on the high side coming in at about 10, maybe pushing 11%. I think that's going to come down. And it might have already by the time this airs that the Fed brings down the rates a little bit. So we'll see these, I think, SBA loans hover around 8% or so. And that's really good money.
It is. And I think, one of the SBA's purposes is to really protect and educate business owners. And that's why they have these competitive terms. But the other thing with the SBA guaranteed loans is they can come with counseling and education. So some of the loans, the SBA has a ton of free resources available, but some of those loans, especially I've seen the micro loans from the community-based lenders, they have continued support to help you start up and run your business. That's kind of, free consulting really to help you launch your business and get it off the ground.
Yeah. Again, we are so lucky to have the SBA as part of the fabric of buying and selling businesses here in the United States. And some of the other benefits that are with these loans is the down payments. The down payments are running at about 10%. We just had an SBA lender come into our offices today and talk about it. They are at a hard 10%. And the 10% can be split a lot of times with the buyer and seller. And some of their SBA loans are 100% financing.
Yeah. It's just so affordable and approachable for business owners, right? There's also flexible overhead requirements. And even for some loans, there's no outside collateral needed too. So it depends on the loan size and the deal, but there are some loans where there's no outside collateral. So
yeah, I just want to throw this out there. Today, they were talking about business acquisition loans for in your own industry. So if you already own a business and you want to borrow from the SBA, you could get 100% financing.
Wow.
100% financing. You could own another company, get a 10-year amortization, and buy a company for how many times?
Two times. Two and a half times maybe now.
Yeah. So it's a great program. And there's a lot of money available, right?
Yeah. So, they start at, we talked about the microloans. You can get as little as $500, through some of these community-based lenders, up to $5.5 million to fund your business, to grow your business, to buy another business, right? And they can be used for a lot of business purposes, long-term fixed assets, operating capital, business acquisitions, expansions. There's all kinds of things that you can use these loan programs for.
Yeah. And when you buy a business, they're not going to leave you high and dry the first month. They're going to give you a working capital piece to the loan. And in fact, most of the bank lenders are going to require you to take some working capital. So you would say only have 5% down or 10% down, and you don't have to worry about the first few months of cash flow because they're going to give you that much more money. And, it's going to be a part of the loan, but you're going to have cash flow just in case something bad happens. And again, you could even get more money than just the acquisition, because if you're going to go out there, you could buy some fixed assets, furniture, think of expanding with real estate or machinery or equipment. It's not just limited to acquisitions. There's so much more that is available out there in the world.
Yeah. And I think this is where, having a lending partner that's a seasoned professional with the SBA programs is very important. So we've got 4 great lending partners on the show today that we've worked with, deals and lots of deals years in, years out, but they can really, match you to the right type of loan program, understand your business, understand what you're going to need for that business, and grow with you over time. We've said on the podcast before, not all banks and lenders are created equal. And the SBA program is very specialized. So it's not something every bank is an expert in. And typically there's usually SBA experts within the banks. So like the local guy you walk in and chat with when you drop off your checks might not be your SBA loan officer that you work with. So,
yeah. So we have 2 more interviews right now.
Yes, we do have 2 more interviews. Who do we have up next, Andy?
So we have Kassar from MultiFunding, and he has an interesting take about what's happening out there in the world. He believes that the money is going to get a little bit tighter. So it's a very interesting interview. It's only a few minutes long, but check it out. And we have someone from Huntington, right?
Yeah, Washienko. So Huntington's also been a great lending partner, and we've got a good interview there as well.
Yeah, she's been around for a long time, and she has some great insight as well, kind of a specific thing that Huntington does. So check that out. And we have finally our deal of the week.
Transworld Business Advisors is the world's largest business brokerage and mergers and acquisitions firm with over 1,000 brokers and nearly 250 offices worldwide. Transworld's team handles thousands of business sales every year. To be connected with a qualified business broker or learn more about the buying and selling process, visit tworld.com/thedealboard or call 888-719-9098.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. And we are talking lending and we are talking tools for small businesses, but we have the expert here, Kassar, who we've been working with for a long time at MultiFunding. And we were having a general conversation about funding these days. Hey, interest rates are up, interest rates may be going down, banks are pulling out, banks aren't. What's going on? You said it's a little crazy out there.
It is a little crazy. I think we all have to realize that we might be coming upon an inflection point.
Right.
A lot of the year-to-date profit and loss statements we see versus last year look really messy. About half of them, which will give a lender a pause, as it should. And you're also starting to see lenders just act weird. Some lenders all of a sudden are pulling out of the market, and some lenders are still hot to trot.
Right. So that's what MultiFunding can do for them.
Correct.
Because it is an unknown kind of universe out there, and you could get them through that process.
Yeah, our job, where we love partnering up with the transport offices where it's most successful, is transport offices should be great at going out and finding businesses to sell and finding buyers to sell those businesses. We partner up and have great relationships with a number of offices around the country. Our job is to help them get the business funded.
Right.
And oftentimes that is a lot more art and science in this world. Lenders' credit boxes and environments and needs are often changing every week these days.
Yeah.
And so it's dangerous, I think, for any one broker to have all their eggs in the basket with one lender, or to think that you can have 5, 6, 8 deals in a basket with one lender, and all of a sudden, for reasons that you're not even familiar with, or the business development officer that you work with isn't familiar with, they change the credit box.
Right. And we've seen it.
It's happening more and more.
Yeah, it's happening more and more.
It's happening more and more. And so we are hitting, I think, this inflection point. That I don't think it's a doomsday scenario.
No.
Interest rates will start to come down. The election will settle down. And also, the other thing is that people are trying to figure out a lot of COVID cash is running out.
Right.
For a lot of businesses.
We're talking about that.
And so you just really, I think, cannot have all your eggs in one basket with one lender. It's a big mistake because things can change like that.
Instantly. Well, Ami, what's the best way to get in touch with you at MultiFunding?
You reach out at multifunding.com. We love Transworld. Love you, Andy. Thanks
love
for
you.
having us.
Thanks. Thank you, buddy.
Thanks so much.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. We are talking small business, and we are talking tools for small business, and there's no bigger tool than money. And we are with Robin Washienko from Huntington National Bank, and she is a big sponsor here. She dragged our whole team here to Nashville, and we definitely wanted to catch up with her and talk to her about what's going on in Huntington.
Sure, great. Thank you so much. We are so excited to be here. And first and foremost, we've closed about $36 million year to date in Transworld transactions.
There you go.
For business banking, so small business clients. So we're really excited about that. And the fact that we've closed loans coast to coast. So that is something that we're really proud of. At Huntington Bank, we are the number one SBA lender when it comes to units, and right now trending number 3 in dollars for this fiscal year.
Nice.
And we've done that by working Main Street USA all the way through large private equity sized transactions. And we feel it's really important to help all small businesses achieve their goals. Those ready to retire and move on, as well as those that this is their dream, this is their opportunity. And taking the time to work with them. I did bring a team of 5 of our about 30 bankers that are on our group with us, because we feel that personal touch and those connections are so important to winning new relationships and building new business.
And you have done a fantastic job. Everybody sings your praises. And yes, they've closed a lot of deals with Transworld. And that's what it's about. We love the open communication. We love working with your BDOs because they're on top of it and they're getting deals done, and that's what it's all about.
And we've worked really hard with a credit box to make sure that we're taking a look at those transactions that you all have done such a nice job in putting together and pricing well and setting the stage with the sellers so that they are financeable deals. I think that's what's really important, is that we have a deal that can get closed and get to the finish line.
All right. Well, if another small business owner wanted to get in touch with you, what's the best way?
The best way is to contact any of us, but my contact information is in all of the Transworld paraphernalia, but huntingtonbank.com and SBA@huntingtonbank.com. We do have a general mailbox.
There you go. Thanks so much for being with me today. I really appreciate your support.
Thanks.
Hey, Andy, do you know what time it is?
It's time for our deal of the week.
Deal of the week.
Sold.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. It is Deal of the Week, and I have Jeff Petersen here from Transworld Business Advisors of East Texas. And welcome, Jeff. You had a really nice deal. Tell us about it.
It did. It was a construction company out in rural East Texas. And if I'm being honest, it never should have gotten off the ground, much less all the way to closing. It had all the things I'm never looking for: bad books and records, the owner's taking a bunch of cash out. It was a problem from the start. Early on, we identified the books and records being a problem. So we hired a third party to go in and rebuild all of their 23 records. And that was going really well until the seller's in-house bookkeeper, who was also his wife, would go in and start changing reconciled transactions, short-circuiting the whole thing. And they went back and fixed it several times. And anyhow, just finally gave up. Through this whole thing, I must have signed 100 NDAs on this deal. So there was a lot of interest. But once I came out to everybody with the information about the problems with the books and records and all the other issues, it scared off everybody except for one group of buyers. And these guys were great. They came in and they spent a lot of time and money doing quality of earnings. And even though all those things were still in place, the books and records were still a problem. They were able to do a bank rec on banks and credit cards, and they believed him on the cash. So he actually showed them the cash. They had a meeting down there where he had to show about $800,000 in cash sitting on his desk, and they took him at his word. Anyhow, the seller was a great guy. The buyers were great guys. Couldn't get a bank to touch it, so it ended up being almost all seller financing, but he got that at 8%, and he trusts these guys. And so anyhow, everything that could have gone wrong did. Closing took 2 days and was pure brain damage, but everything funded. Everyone's happy. It is a classic good deals for good people scenario.
Yeah, it certainly sounds it. I mean, that I think that's one of our strengths at Transworld is we're able to find that needle in the haystack. It took that one right buyer that was not only going to trust the seller, but vice versa. It sounds like the seller had to have a lot of trust in the buyer that they were going to run the business properly and pay him. What was the price on it again?
We listed at 3.3 and it sold for a little over 3.6 with real estate.
Wow. So a nice deal. And they didn't even all seller financing, not even the real estate, huh?
No, they did get financing on the assets, the FF&E and the real estate. So, but
Okay.
yeah, but he had to carry the rest. But he's happy to do it. He's actually also keeping 10% of the company. He's going to be around. He's going to work there for at least the next 6 months. They've already got a replacement hired for him to start training. So he's going to still be pretty instrumental in the day-to-day. So he's going to be there to keep an eye on his investment.
Well, it sounds like you said, good deals for good people, and got it done. So congratulations, Jeff. Jeff, what's the best way to get in touch with you if somebody wants to do another deal like that?
My cell phone is 903-422-68. And you can also email me at jpetersen, that is Petersen @tworld.com.
Well, congratulations, Jeff. Another great deal.
All right. Thanks a lot, Andy.
All right, welcome back. So we've got one more thing to discuss with SBA before we close it out today. And this is one of the bigger myths that we have too, Andy, right? Is eligibility requirements for the SBA programs. So I don't know about you, but I hear from a lot of buyers or even business owners who will say, well, I'm not approved by the SBA, right? And there is, and we're going to talk about this, there is certain situations where you're not approved for an SBA loan program, right? But most of the time when we hear that, it's that a certain lending partner did not approve the loan, right? So I think that's one of the big misnomers. And again, goes back to the SBA does not loan the money. The bank loans the money or the lending partner, and they're doing it in partnership with that guarantee from the SBA. So keep that distinction clear in your mind and just make sure if you're ever told, your business isn't SBA qualified, you're not SBA qualified, that it falls within these eligibility requirements we're going to talk about and not just the specific lending partners requirements.
Yeah, and there are some specific SBA requirements like size standards. You could go right to SBA.gov and see those size standards, but it's pretty big companies. We're not talking about small little companies. So most small businesses are able to get an SBA lending, but I think it's over $15 million for some service businesses and over. Like it's pretty big. And then businesses have to show that they can repay the loan, right? So the SBA wants to get their money back, and they also want to see that you have a sound business purpose.
Yes. I mean, and there's a lot of flexibility. Like even some business owners with bad credit may qualify for startup funding. So you really have to work with your lender to get a full list of eligibility requirements for your loan. But in general, there's a few key things that the SBA wants to see from your business. One, you have to be a for-profit business, and you have to be officially registered and operate legally in the business world too.
Yeah, and you also have to do business in the United States. So you have to be physically located and operate in the United States or any of its territories, by the way. There are several territories, like our folks in Puerto Rico.
Yes, they're included too. The business also must be credit worthy. So Andy already talked about, there's got to be some sound enough assurance that the loan can be repaid.
Yes. And the other thing is they have to exhaust financing options. So they have to go to other banks. Now, most businesses, as we spoke of before, are not eligible for any cash flow loans. So most of the time, they can exhaust financing options. By the way, you can be your own financing option. You can be too rich as a buyer to borrow the money. I think it used to be 2 times the loan in liquid funds. So if you have a big cash bank account and you're trying to borrow some money, they might not give it to you.
Yeah, that is true. And the last thing, I think that the SBA covers, and I think it's important to talk about here, is just you do want to watch out and protect yourself from predatory lenders. So now that you have an understanding of what the SBA program is and what business acquisition loans look like, there are predatory lenders out there that will have unfair or abusive terms, higher interest rates. We talked about there is a cap on prime, right? Fees for the loan processing that could be more than the SBA says to watch out for anything more than 5% of the loan value. So, just be aware. And I think, Andy, this brings back, it's so important to work with a bank that's really well qualified in SBA lending. I think, doesn't the SBA put out a list of the top SBA lenders every year? So
they do, and you can find it pretty easily. But again, if you're working with one of our Transworld folks, use our partners, because we have some great non-bank lenders too. We had Ami on earlier in the episode. He is not a bank, but he is so knowledgeable. Him and his staff have done thousands of loans over the years, and he's flexible to go to a lot of different partners. We have some other partners like Jack Berger, and so there's a lot of people that we work with that can be loan brokers that are great. So you can go to a loan broker too, but again, make sure that you check their references. And so working with folks through Transworld, we can give you plenty of options to go check out some banks.
Well, we hope this overview of the SBA and connecting with some of our great lending partners was helpful, and it covered some more questions that we have for one of our most popular topics.
Excellent.
All right.
Thanks. Great job.
Thanks for tuning into the show today. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends on social media. And don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review on your favorite podcasting app. If you have questions, would like to appear, or have suggestions for topics for the show, get in contact with us through our website, thedealboardpodcast.com.